For this grading project, the first thing we had to do is get the 1066 IH set up with a York Rake on it. And this is the first time we've actually used the 3-point hitch or this tractor for anything other than baling hay. So you can see that Roger and I have backed off from and taken off from the loader off the 1066, and we're currently just getting set up to run the York Rake. The big thing with this tractor is the 3-point hitch category is massive. It's category 3. So the holes in the 3-point hitch arms are like 2 inches in diameter. They're massive. So one of the things you're going to see in a bit, once we get backed up to the York Rake, is that we ended up putting some washers over the small little, I think it's category 1 little pins on this York Rake. And it worked great for the whole project. We didn't lose any of the quarter pins, and everything worked really, really well. And as you can see, as we're backing up, we're a little overpowered for this project. This 1066 is like 130 engine horsepower, and by the time it gets to the PTO, even with the hydro on it, it's still around 90 horsepower and weighs near 15,000 pounds with all the fully loaded tires and everything, and the roll bar and everything else on it. So it's not quite the little 4,000 pound Kubota or Coyote yard tractor most people are working on the lawns with. But Roger and I had a blast doing this, and part of the project was trying, and you'll see later, that we had a car seat fixed up to this ROPS system that we put on this tractor. And the whole point is to have a safe spot for Roger to go right along on some of these projects where he's strapped in and mounted to the tractor with me, and he's not in my lap. He's getting just too big to operate controls and get on and off with him right there. And you can see me having the fun time of every time I get on and off, lifting and having to put him back down. And as he approaches that 40-50 pound mark, it gets old fast. So as you can see in the video there, the only issue I ran into is the drawbar for this tractor is set up long so it doesn't bind when you're turning fast with the baler or another implement with a PTO shaft on it. But yeah, it's actually set up to be right in line with the eyelet holes in that 3-point hitch assembly. So I had to play around with it and was hoping that the drawbar would slide into place and I could drop the pin back in and be done with it. But unfortunately, it only goes from that position and further out, which isn't going to work. So as simple as a process it is, I decided it's just pull her out and go. So you're going to see me decide here shortly that, we'll just yank this drawbar out and get it out of the way. The nice thing is Roger's pretty content on there, and he does a good job of just crashing the seat when you tell him don't touch anything. He does a really nice job of sitting in that seat and not messing with any controls or anything. I know it's pretty tempting as a young child to mess with steering and hydraulics and everything else, but he's a pretty good egg. And I actually appreciate the fact that Roger wanted to bring his little radio flyer wagon out with us when we checked cows this morning. Came in handy for hauling all this stuff around for setting up this tractor. So the biggest thing with these 3-point hitch implements is the fact that you have the 2 3-point hitch arms that come down, and then you have a top link. And what you're going to see here shortly, and what I was going to do is I end up adjusting that 3-point hitch top link out here shortly. First thing is I want to make sure I had it up where I can get mounted. Nothing like cows from knocking over things, and it was on this stump when I took it off a tractor, and one of those girls probably got a good itch going and shook it right off. Cows will destroy equipment pretty fast. So, and Roger had fun tying strings around the 3-point hitch arms here and cleaning up that mess of him having fun pretending to hitch up cows. So, the nice thing about the hydro that you're going to see here is the control and how much you can do it. You can do it without having to hit the clutch. So I know it's not the standard operating procedure, but to be able to look down and see, I can stand right next to it and slowly run that hydro back and forth and back up without having to sit down and hit the clutch the whole time. Pretty handy on a haying tractor, and I wish I actually had a small utility with the same setup. But all I'm doing is grabbing those washers we talked about, and here are those metal washers to slide over those 3-point hitch arms. and that will keep those quarter pins from falling out and from those giant holes from damaging the quarter pins themselves. So that's all I'm doing is sliding the arms on, and it worked actually awesome. Nothing like a farmer rigging to make it work. Let's take a quick walk around the tractor too over here. So we rebuilt a couple things this winter for this project. One of the things that let go last year was that 3-point hitch. The arm that raises it right there that's threaded and has a threaded rod that comes down into it, stripped out and fell off during haying season last year. So we cleaned up the threads and put on the new cast base part, so we had 3-point hitch that's working. And I'm just realizing I got a pin right there. I didn't have to use a wire, so I'm going to use that in a second. We've gone through, we made new battery box trays, so the batteries aren't sitting on just wood and bouncing around. I still need to put the cover strap on this one, get the loader mounts on it, all new pins and bushings and everything else for the steering. What the finished battery box and tray is going to look like when we're all said and done, with a nice over the battery pull down strap and everything else done up. We fixed the linkage underneath there for the controls, the hydro, which she now actually doesn't shift herself anymore. So we have everything, I think, fixed up and ready to go try out for the first real job it's had since it's been in the barn this winter. So we'll come back to it in a moment. You like your seat? All right, we're all set up. We got Roger strapped in. Nice buddy seat set up. Let's go get some work done.